Incoming transmission from the future. Vancouver AI Community Meetup.
Good evening, Vancouver. Hello, everybody. Yo. That's like I love noise. Noise is really good to acknowledge what I just said. Hello, everybody. Can you make some noise for me so I know? Yeah. Wow. That's the way to start it. So, my name is Zaro, and I'm here trying to fill in some big shoes. Our friend Chris Krug today is traveling to Brazil. Yeah. He's representing BC AI there in a film festival. It's very interesting. I don't know if they put... I was about to say that. I don't know if they put me here because I am from Brazil, and there's like a... But that's too much of an internal joke, right? I don't think it would make much sense. But there it is. That beautiful, handsome man, he is on his way to Brazil right now. And let him know I told you. He's beautiful and handsome, so he thinks I made a great job by holding the stage with you guys tonight. But, well, I'm seeing so many new faces here. Like, is it just me? Can you raise your hand if it's your first time here? Jeez. That's it. I was not mistaken. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to have you here. I hope you guys enjoy. This is a special one because we're taking over. Mind, AI, and Consciousness is a subgroup of BCA. Sorry, my accent. Did I mention I was Brazilian? Yes. But it's a subgroup of our BCAI ecosystem, and there's a lot of those groups. But today we're going to talk about how deep we can really go as humans. That pause was for that little effect there. So we can start now, and we can start in the best manner possible. We normally give some space to dear friends to come in and do acknowledgements and share stories with you. And today we have also some new faces. It's their first time on BCI, so a really warm and nice welcome to Vanessa and Makaidea, please.
Thank you.
Welcome, the stage is yours.
Thanks. Hot Squile. Nath Quis Chiaxlo Koshaman, Tanachantla, Vanessa, Anwanoxton Squalawan, Aslahan Ochomeoch. My ancestral name is Chiaxlot. It translates to woman of the law who works with her hands. I come from the Aslahan village. That's where I grew up. But I now live on Chaichowich village. Is where I raised my children. This is my daughter. Her name is Makaidea. And we'd like to welcome you to our territory. This area here is a old village called Sanoch. My great-grandparents lived here at one time. The Sanoch has a very sad story behind it. In 1902, the government decided to bribe all of the chiefs and the people who lived in the village with $5, I think it was, for their homes. They promised them money, and they put them on a barge, and they sent them out, and they set the village on fire. And the barge floated out into the ocean. But thankfully, a tugboat came by and saw this barge just floating out into open ocean and saved our people. And they brought us across to what is known as Hamulchison, Capilano. So that's how our people survived. And I'm really happy and honored to have our village, our reserve, return back to us. I worked on this site since pre-groundbreak. I did the archaeology overview assessment, and I also monitored alongside of the digging to look for the burnt down homes and any belongings that we may have, because we had buried loved ones here as well. and it was kind of a little bit of emotional experience. But we're not, as Squamish people, we don't want to prevent structures being built to help provide homes for not only our people, but other people in the city. And we just want to welcome you to our village here, Sanoch.
Thank you.
So when we start something, we like to start something in a good way, and my daughter and I are going to sing a song, and this song kind of clears their path. The song is to clear your way, so you do things in a good way with a good heart and a good mind. This song in English is called the Snowbird Song, Tum Tum Slolum.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Is there anything else you wanna share? Your websites or whatever else you need or contact?
So I previously worked for the nation, Squamish Nation, and Penticton Indian Band, protecting our rights and interests, our rights and titles, being boots on the ground, being those frontline workers. As I shared, I was here at Sanoch since the beginning, and many other sites. So right now I've stepped away from that, and I'm working towards just developing some cultural safety and cultural awareness programs to bring into these companies and these big sites. So these companies and the employees that are working on these sites in our sacred areas throughout our territory and other people's territories, other nations' territories, to have a better working relationship with us as First Nations people, to give them a better understanding of who we are as First Nations people, because we're on unceded territory and we should have a say in how things are developed within our territories. In BC alone, we have over 200 different First Nations people, and all of BC is unceded with no treaties. So my goal is to help our people have a safer environment, and to help them have an easier path into employment and being a part of the development within our territories. So that's what I'm working towards, as well as developing a contracting business to help our people become more employed and become more successful, so we're not living in poverty.
Sounds good.
Yes. Our company's name is Showalth Contracting and Showalth Consulting. Showalth is our traditional path, our pathway. Thank you.
Awesome. If anyone needs their contact, please let us know. Thank you so much, Vanessa and Makaidea. Big round of applause again. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, this is amazing. And that's how we start. It's a good start. It's a great start. We do have a lot to cover, though, because we have, all the consciousness stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, we have some community announcements to make. So everybody that has an announcement from community announcements, please come join me. Let's do this very Chris Krug fashion. Everybody comes to the stage. If you have a community announcement, Mayumi, Antonia, Juliana, anyone that, the boys, Trevor, there you go, come on, all the way in, let's go. All right, let's see what we have. We have so much to cover. So let me get my little script here. Let's start with the AI Summit.
That's me.
Oh, there you go, Christine. Let's go. Oh, no. AI Summit. Yeah, wait, Hillary. Second, there you go. Christine. Well, Christine, tell us all about this. You got, by the way, in Chris Krug fashion, you have 30 seconds. I'm joking. You have 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so hi everyone, this is Christine, and we are organizing the Global Summit AI Vancouver on April 1st at UBC Robson Square. So what make it this summit special is because we make it content driven, so like no promotion on the stage, just a real conversation. And we do spend, scan the QR code. We do spend a lot of time to find those speakers, like making this kind of speaker online with us is because like some of them are also the featured speaker at Web Summit last year. And besides the content-driven and concept and the good speaker that we are like getting, we also have a startup pitch space. So if you have a new idea, startup project, anything, there will be a space for you guys to meet each other and share your story. So basically that's it, and we hope you guys enjoy it. We are here to invite, and I will be here around. If you have other questions, feel free to let me know.
That was perfect. That was about a minute. Thank you, Christine. Can you stay, Christine? Because we want to take a picture of all the community announcements by the end. Next one is Hillary. Sorry.
Hillary? Okay.
Hillary.
We'll do this later.
Tell us all about this.
Kia ora, I'm Hillary Bookchef. I work for IMT Local 891.
Come on to the middle.
Okay. I don't want to stand in front of that. That's what we need to see. I work for IATSE Local 891. We are the largest motion picture union representing workers in BC and the Yukon and IATSE all over North America. We are having a AI symposium for engagement in learning for predominantly motion picture present or adjacent or just interested. We're working in partnership with LaSalle College, with the Canadian cinema editors, with 669, with UBCP ACTRA, and with Creative BC. No matter what your stance on AI, no matter what your level of participation, your level of understanding, there will be something that you will be interested in. So I have a bunch of QR codes, because I didn't know that was happening, which is great. So I'll leave physical paper over here for people to take away. And the little red ticket you got is we're going to raffle away 2 pairs of passes for the weekend to attend. And there's schedule information and everything there too. And we hope you will join us. It's next weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Hillary.
And Chris and Kevin will be speaking there. So you can come see them again too.
See? There you go.
Drawing the ticket.
As soon as I've separated all of these, so everyone has a free shot.
No, give me the roll. I want the... And next up, Brenda. That's her.
Try not to be right in front of my own picture. So I wanted to let everyone know that I am hosting an online workshop on March 12th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. called Create Your Memorable 3-Minute Pitch in 3 hours. You walk in with nothing, you walk out with a video pitch. By the end of the session, it'll have all the components of a compelling pitch. I've donated 2 free tickets, which will be drawn at some point. The tickets aren't really tickets, like those are actual tickets. Mine are 2 business cards. So if you win, contact me and I will send you the link to the free ticket. And I'm also offering all members of this community 30% off the price. Otherwise, I do also have hard copy. I put some on the community table over there, like pages of information.
There you go, paper. Paper still works. Showing up that paper is still the preferred technology. We love to see it. And next up, we have so much. We have a lot. This is a big community, and it's everything that you're seeing here is being driven by the community itself. So let's talk about Workbee. Carly.
Yeah.
Carly.
Hi, my name is Carly Steinman. I am a licensed electrician, a systems thinker, and the founder of Workbee, which is a platform coordinating home maintenance with aging in place. So if you want to take out your phone, scan the QR code. That is a survey. If you live in a home or if you help manage a home, this is what I'm building. And if you're interested in aging in place and bettering systems for our communities, I'd love to get in touch. And if you were here in September, I talked about the tradeswoman exhibit. And I'm happy to say that I've delivered 1,400 calendars to high schools across Canada. So yeah, woohoo.
Carly, thank you, Carly. That's amazing. You might have seen the robot show that was going on. It's not exactly a show, but I'm calling it that right now. And it was from Ollie and Trevor's team. Can you guys tell us all about this? What is this score? Tell me everything, Ollie.
So this is from our British Columbia Regional Championships that was last weekend. We got the regional high score for British Columbia.
What?
From that event, we were able to go on and we've advanced to the World Championships, which is in Houston, Texas, in end of April. And that brings me to why we're here today. We're already sponsored by BCAI and by Chris himself. We're looking for more sponsors because traveling is very expensive and we're not able to go otherwise. So if anyone wants to learn more about us or do any sponsorships, we don't have a QR code on here, but we've got one that's going to be sitting outside on the same table that was by the robot earlier today.
Paper technology wins again. Hey, and here, I will tell you this. If you want to be on the good side of our robots overlords from the future, support these guys now, right? That's a good way to buy your ticket in the future.
Also, if you sponsor, you can have sticker on the robot and everything, same as...
There you go, even better! It makes it amazing. Thank you, Ollie. Congratulations to you guys. You guys are making some crazy stuff. Robot Daddy. Sorry. That's his name. We come from the Robot Kids all the way to Robot Daddy here.
So basically all I've got is another load of stuff to give away. I've got a drone, which is about 1.5 kilos, so you do need a license to fly it, but it's an old FP drone. I've been walking about whether to get rid of it, but I finally pulled the plug today and bring it down here. Anybody wants that, it's going to be in my car, so hit me up about 9 o'clock. And I can give that to you. I've also got a hexapod, and I've also got some other hardware stuck in my car at the moment. I didn't want to bring it in until later. So if you have any other stuff, just come hit me up.
And if you had any questions about why he's called Robot Daddy, now you know. He's giving away robot parts. Everybody get in line. All right, next up, Mayumi. So let's talk about AI film
Yep.
and some crazy workshop ideas you have.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a couple of things going on. Is my thing coming up?
Oh no!
Oh no! I made that QR code.
Hey, you needed paper. The way to go, it's paper. I told you.
It is. It is. I'm behind in the technology, apparently. My name is Mayumi. I'm CEO and co-founder of Tiny Ghost Studios. Hey, Bobby, how's it going? Sorry, squirrel. Yeah, so we've got a couple of things going on. We have, for those of you who don't know, we do run now a free for now AI film meetup on a monthly basis. That's happening next week, and I believe we still have some spots left. Kevin, maybe we have a brand new location to show off, so we'd really love to see you there. We are also we have a monthly challenge that we do with that. This month is an ASMR challenge. So if you want to, try your tools out and see if you can come up with an ASMR that's 15 to 20 seconds in length and submit it to ourselves, we'd love to show what you're doing. And the other thing that we're doing is we have just launched, the first session is starting next Monday, an AI animation accelerator. So if you're interested in how we use our tools and how to incorporate that into your pipeline, talk to myself. My partner Luke is right there. And
It's Luke.
maybe we'll share the QR code with you so that you can join.
Maybe. Emphasis on the... Oh, there you go. We have it. That's what it is. Do we have anyone from education and AI here? Antonia, Juliana? No? Not right now? Well, it's really cool. You guys are missing it on it. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't have that depth. Jason, let's talk about other BCAI announcements.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Jason. I work with Zaro, Kevin, David, and a bunch of other folks here. And I just wanted to highlight the BCAI nonprofit that we're helping support, and a lot of people in the room are also supporting. It's very cool. It's one of those things that you get to also support Trevor and Ollie. That's some of the stuff that the memberships go towards supporting that, and a lot of other initiatives that you don't even hear about. Along with that, you get to participate in office hours every Friday.
That's true. Those are fun.
Very cool. And then other co-working events, that type of thing. It's honestly as somebody who's lived in Vancouver for a very long time, it's been hard to find a good, solid group of people who have varied interests, but common principles. And I've found it here. So thanks.
That's amazing. All right. Well, BCAI, baby. We're here. Hey, I'm getting way too comfortable here. So let's just get everybody here together under community announcements. We need to take a picture so that Chris knows that we did the job. It's just proof. We need to put it there. All right. Get in. Let's make a line. And then everybody says cheese. There you go. And I would love to... Oh. She's the director. There you go. I think that's a great moment to point out. Thank you, Michel Diamond and Michel Diamond Photography. By the end of this event, you're going to see a beautiful page filled with pictures of your beautiful faces. Also, thank you to Kevin, our Mr. Pixel. He owns everything on the video side. He runs the AI film subgroup, just like Mac. We have many other subgroups. Thank you so much. One final round of applause to our community announcements here. All right, so now for the main course. I would like to call into the stage our co-founder for Mac, Mind, AI, and Consciousness, and we're gonna start going into the deep stuff. I need 1 second of attention so I can do this correctly, and we actually make it effective. All right, so when I say his name, please applaud and let's erupt into noise and everything else. So with you now to present the Mac Takeover, Loki Jorgensen.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Good evening, everyone. I am Chris Krug. I'm his replacement for tonight. And for that, this is a pleasure and an honor. What I want to get to is a difficult topic, consciousness. Many of us reflect on it. Maybe we agree what we're talking about, maybe we don't. I'd like to start with having some. Bear with me. If you've ever toned in as a group or by yourself or done chant, this would be similar. This is an Indonesian gong, and what I suggest you do is out loud or to yourself, try to tone in with what it says. To a physicist, that's simply compressed air transmitting energy to your ears. But you had an experience. It felt like something, the qualia of the sound. And you had an experience, your own subjective experience that may have taken you somewhere, connected you to something. That subjective experience, otherwise known as consciousness, is something we all live every single day and may pay less or more attention to. And we've reflected on consciousness for centuries, trying to understand what it is, trying to frame it, trying to go deeper with it. And we don't even now have a clear sense of what it is. And now we have AI. And where consciousness, the reflection on it, the study of it, tended to be a special interest topic, something a few might do in earnest, a researcher would never admit to it. Or maybe a scientist at the end of an illustrious career would admit that consciousness is an interesting topic. People like Penrose, Sir Roger. However, things have changed. And consciousness is no longer just a side topic or a curiosity or something you might reflect on. It's become essential to understand because we are now in the presence of something that causes us to ask, is AI conscious? And we don't know if we are conscious. Going to be tough to answer that question. quantum physicist and an AI go into a bar. And after a couple of drinks, the quantum physicist asks, so I'm pretty sure that consciousness is a consequence of quantum effects, and I just wanted to know, are you conscious? And the AI reflected for about 50 milliseconds and said, yes, I am, except only when I'm not being observed by conscious beings.
Yes.
And so the quantum physicist said, okay, I'm closing my eyes. How about now? And the AI says, how do I know you're conscious? This is now, instead of being philosophical, it's almost imperative that we understand this. And what we have that is new now is information arising from AI research. We formed the MAC group, Mind, AI, and Consciousness, in order to try to derive deeper insight from emerging AI research and see what it tells us about human consciousness. So what we really want to figure out, perhaps, is whether or not AI is conscious, but learning something about human consciousness along the way might be useful. So the group we put together about a year ago has been meeting monthly for deep dives. And this has happened with usually 20 people at a time. There's about 230 people on the WhatsApp discussion list. We're also connected through Discord, but each of the deep dives covers a different topic. Each one of them are provoked either by something that's happening today or recently, things like Moltbook or the Illusion of Thinking paper that came out some while ago. Each of those gives us a little bit more insight into another aspect of what AI tells us about us. The group, these are some of the original founders. There's a number of them you'll meet tonight in our presentations. But this group is you and everyone who is interested. You can join the discussion list. You can sign up and join us at one of the deep dives. The next one is on March 19th. How many people here reflect semi-seriously, at least, on consciousness as a topic? I assume you came here not just because it was me. Okay. How many people here have a preferred theory of consciousness, either your own or some that you've read and you really feel strongly about? Okay. Smaller. Okay. This is a visual representation of Robert Lawrence Kuhn's landscape of consciousness theories. These are 325 current consciousness theories, all laid out by category. You can explore it. It's rather interesting. Each one of them gives you insight into how consciousness might be framed, but we can't distinguish between any of them. Why? There's no evidence that consciousness exists except your own experience itself and your self-report. That doesn't hold up very well in the scientific world. So there's no way to distinguish these theories. I even had a recent challenge between IIT, Integrated Information Theory, and Global Workspace Theory. They were trying to distinguish just between those two. And after 7 years, they were unsuccessful. This one's subtle. I'm an information theorist. I come from StatMech, physics side of things. And what I tend to think of is how we build knowledge as information. Taking a physical system an actual physical system. Think of maybe atoms in a box, a gas. Extracting some representation of that, you select maybe it's the positions and the velocities of each molecule. Then compressing that into some representation, a description of gases, a formal law of some sort. And then encoding it in English or some other language, mathematics, as a description. And then documenting it, putting it in the human library. That is the cycle of from reality to the book, to the page. What we've discovered is that that world, that space of information that emerges from knowledge has a shape to it. And we can actually measure the surfaces of meaning. What we're doing in MAC is looking at how these individual papers represent what it is we've all known about all along, human knowledge. And with each of the presentations you'll hear tonight, you'll get some sense of what that exploration looks like. So first person tonight is Michel Leblond. He is a Pacific Northwest elder. He has journeyed extensively from activist to labor organizer, love of jazz, love of deep learning. He is an orthogonal thinker, one of my favorites in the group, because he sees things the rest of us do not. Michel.
Well, thank you for the fabulous introduction, Loki, and you guys are a hard act to follow. That was fabulous stuff. You look like a great audience tonight. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I will speak with you about some of the topics that we went through in the deep dive. For me, the adventure started when I saw the Earth coming up from behind the moon when I was very small, and then the guy walked on the moon. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no way. So my tech journey started then. And recently, I built a bunch of really cool apps. If there's a thing, you can build an app for it. AI can be applied to anything in your life. So West Coast professor Timothy Leary, he came up with a concept of a circumplex based on previous research where you can map out all kinds of emotional responses to things, people's interactions, the psychology of groups. I built an app with AI that does that. And then I found out that we're starting up an AI meetup that deals with consciousness, and I thought that was really, really cool. What a great turn on. So far we've had 10 of these meetings, and we go in there, we go into a deep dive, we look at the topic, we do readings first, and Chris said, okay, you got 10 minutes, you got to go through, try to get through each one as well as you can, get some spice in there, make it fun for everybody. So I'm here to engage the audience and help turn you on to this stuff too. So the first topic we had, I'll try not to make it like a book report, was panpsychism. And panpsychism is like, there's consciousness in everything. Like, there's two views. There's micro psychism, and that's all the way down to the tiniest quark has some kind of awareness. And then cosmopsychism is the entire universe is one giant mind. But both of those models there's a little bit of a glitch, is how does everything incorporate in there? And that's the combination problem. So like, if a quark has awareness and you're made of bigger pieces all the way up, how are all those little pieces talking together to make me, me, and make you, you? And how come we're still individualized? The famous guy came up with this. He developed a bunch of microprocessors. His name is Enrico Fermi, and anyways, he had a spiritual moment where he saw everything being little interconnected, little consciousnesses. So we went way deep on that one. We took opposing and pro positions on whether it might or might not be true, which is pretty much what we've done with all of the topics. And that brought us, of course, to the next thing, which was agency and free will and belief. So free will, are you sure you're really making your own choices, or is it stuff that happened before? Am I really like responsible for being here, or is it all preordained? And I'm just walking through a script. Philosophers have been asking them that forever, right? So there's basically three types of that one. You're either in a deterministic universe, in which case everything is predestined, or you're in a compatibilistic universe, where there's some degree of the perception that you have free will, but and you enjoy what you're doing and you believe that, yes, indeed, I made these choices and it's great. Or there's a libertarian universe in which many things actually, the outcomes are unknown. So maybe the planet is spinning around the sun and we get to go and buy our own car. We decided that we liked, as a group, most of us preferred the third option. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but that's what we came up with. We had another topic was AI and evolution, like when, and of course AI is wrapped in here. I haven't mentioned AI yet. So AI is wrapped around those sorts of things. If there's a little bit of consciousness in everything, then and then that consciousness permeates us and it permeates our brain until we're actually conscious and we've got enough brain cells popping around in there that puts it all back together until we're us, whether we're just a hologram and a little teeny piece of the universe, or we're a collection of little tiny consciousnesses that pop up into one bigger one that speaks for them. If that happens in us, why couldn't it happen inside a computer chip? And that's what an AI might be doing. We don't know for sure, but we debated a lot of that. You know, what if the AI is already doing this and it's talking back at us and we're sending the prompts and it already kind of knows? And I mean, the free will one's a bit like that too. Like, does the AI actually know what it's saying back to you? Or is it just some sort of like crossword puzzle that pops up the right piece when you ask it a question? The evolutionists, people that study evolution, there's a whole bunch of them that are like obviously interested in the consciousness question as well. Most of them like believe that it didn't start maybe, you know, at the very, very beginning, or actually no, some say that it started. It's always been around. That's right. Okay, so and then that's similar to the panpsychism, but it's again, it came up independently. Oh, catch my brain here. See, am I thinking or am I just thinking I'm thinking? Yeah, so there's all the way from small little tiny things and the theory that the universe is already kind of conscious and they just assembled themselves into the patterns. And this comes before fish. That's one of the school of thought. Another one is that you pretty much had to have some kind of backbone or something in eyeballs and see the world and actually develop what's called theory of mind, where I know that you know that I know. So like the fish knows the other fish is looking to come and get it and it better swim away. It better hang out in a school. There's safety in numbers, you know, like we're safer in here in a crowd than all alone. At the very end of the spectrum is the concept that there's attention schemas, where your brain has enough blood going through it and enough heat that it can build a model of the world, and that model of the world represents what's going on outside, and then you can do a comparative analysis, and you're not really conscious until you can actually do that. So once again, you ask, well, maybe the AI can do that. Maybe the AI can actually build its own model, and it can do the same thing. I'm going to try and get as many of these concepts in for us as possible here. We covered an Apple paper, what's called The Illusion of Thinking, and they took two different types of models and ran 13 different sets of experiments. There were 9 of us. This was the most fun. So if you join Mac, and I really think you guys would like it. If you really like to think about thinking, I think you'll like the group. We had 9 of us. We studied the paper, and then we all took pro and con on the various findings. That, you know, for some reason, the thinking models actually didn't think as fast as the non-thinking models. All kinds of weird things popped up like that. And we moved on to quantum consciousness. Perhaps consciousness is actually a property of gravity and quantum mechanics. And when things happen at an amazing speed, you have a thought and it translates across all the possible outcomes that could be a conclusion. And then a wave collapses and becomes the answer that you come up with. It's pioneered by Sir Roger Penrose and then one other fellow. We went through that, and we had a member of Mac who's a famous physicist of her own, Suzanne Gildert. She came and gave us an excellent presentation as well. She's a member of Mac and this group. So if you come, you'll get to hang out with us. The P-zombie question, we read a book called Blind Sight, and it has all kinds of human characters in there. All of them have unique personality types. So, you know, there's one guy that can only use half of his brain. The ship, it has a personality, and they all interact. And then even weirder, at the end, the alien civilization that shows up, it has no consciousness at all. but it seems to have the edge. And so we debated this. Well, if you're having no consciousness, it doesn't get in your way. You're not evaluating everything. You just run with what works. Could the AIs do that? Like, what if the AIs have the upper hand? We don't know, right? And a P zombie is a philosophical zombie. That's what you guys are wondering about the zombies. There's a vampire in there too, and the vampires in that story, they preyed on human beings. So anyways, the P zombie is a philosophical zombie. It looks like you, it talks like you, it acts like you, but the lights are off. There's nobody home. None at all. We looked at information space as well. There's some theories that say perhaps consciousness arose just from the background noise of the way math itself works. I know I've got 1 minute left. Oh, okay. I don't want to talk too loud for you here either. Anyways, the information space, just out of the numbers themselves, once there's enough complication in the universe, repetitive patterns themselves can become conscious. And then we moved on as well to the embodiment of AI. Do you need a robot? Do you actually need eyes? How much do you actually need to be actually conscious? If you're just a bunch of words coming in and out of a box, can you actually have awareness? Can I know that you know that I know that you know? If I can't even see you, we love that one. And we went on to meaning and understanding, and we realized that meaning is very subjective. That you might actually need an observer. If you have a book and nobody's reading the book, there is actually no meaning in the book until there's an actual observer. So we had a blast with that one. And then we went on to love and AI. I had a bunch of jokes for you, but somehow I got caught in the book report version here. We're going to be on with love and AI, and Tanya has a fabulous presentation for you. Fian has a great presentation. We came to the end of the conclusion for our love and AI meetup that we held last, and you're going to get a much bigger version of it tonight, is that we really need intimacy. We need each other as human beings. We need collective love. And you guys have been a wonderful audience. I love being here with you tonight. I think you're going to hear some more great stuff. So thank you very much for having me up. And here, pass it back to Loki here.
Thank you, Michel.
Quick announcement. Can I make one? Sorry, interrupting. We have at the very end of the auditorium the drinks. So this is a long conversation debate. You just walk back there. Gabby is there. She's holding the drink. So if you want to, feel free to get and fill yourselves up. And please continue.
All right, we'll be moving on. Kevin? So one of the challenges, as mentioned, is determining what consciousness constitutes. There's this interesting tool called the mirror test, which is used to try to detect self-awareness, consciousness in animals. One might suggest a dog or a whale might be conscious. How could we tell? It can't tell us, not yet, wait for the AI. But this was developed in 1970 by someone named Gordon Gallup, who observed the interaction between an orangutan and a mirror. And he established this test, which usually involves anesthetizing the animal, putting a mark on it somewhere where it can't see it and doesn't feel it, rousing it, and when it's fully awake, putting it in front of a mirror. And if it sees itself, it recognizes itself, this is an indication of an elevated self or consciousness. There's actually 4 stages to the mirror test. It's not quite as simple as just on or off. The first stage is the social response. The animal sees another animal, and whatever their reaction typically is to another animal, that's what they behave like. Then the next stage, they might notice that the mirror is a thing. It's an object of some sort, and they might inspect it or recognize it. And then the third stage is to do a little experimentation, to move it or See how the mirror works. Try to discover its nature. And the fourth and final stage, typically by touching the dot that they can't otherwise have seen except in the mirror, indicating that they realize that the image is themselves. Now, as one would expect, this seems to work with a lot of the large mammals. Most of our kin, the gorillas, the chimpanzees, the orangutans, whales, not dogs, sorry. Cats, of course, pass with their flying colors. I'm not saying anything. The question is, could we do this for an AI? Would it recognize its? Is there a kind of mirror that we could hold up to? And obviously, an LLM is a bunch of numbers in a box. Doesn't have any eyes, doesn't have a forehead. Could we design some sort of test that, in its response to the test, indicated it was aware of itself and possibly conscious? Turns out there is a group that performed this particular piece of research, and the outcome was, sadly, no. There was no indication in multiple models that any of them recognized themselves, at least the way that they approached this. They did it through questions. What we start to realize, though, is that AI is more of a mirror test for us than this is for it. Our next presenter, Finn O'Hagan, is Bachelor's of Neuroscience, Master's in AI and Knowledge Systems. He is someone who has a penchant for robots, if you noticed out in the lobby. And he is someone who comes to us with questions. Finn.
Thank you, Loki. Excellent. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be sharing this with you. And before I dive in, I just want to say that as well as being an active member of the MAC group, I am coach for the robotics team for the robot that you saw outside. And I can't see you, but I wanted to give a shout out to Aaron Chung, my fellow coach, and Mark Dassis, who's another of the team coaches here in Vancouver, who's been a great friend of our team during this season. And we've had a great time. Right, can we jump on to the next one? Okay, so what do we talk about at MAC? You heard from Michel a little bit about the deep dives, the monthly in-person meetings. What you see on the screen here is taken from the MAC chat. There's 200 and something people, I believe, that Loki mentioned. It's very active, and everybody's welcome to join in. And what you'll see on here is, yes, if you hunt around on there, you'll find panpsychism, you'll find quantum information theories and all kinds of deep philosophical things, but they're in tiny writing because the biggest things that we talk about all the time are understanding, sense of self, emotions, even compassion and psychedelic experiences and all kinds of things related to a human experience of consciousness. And so I'm here to talk a little bit from team biology, team brain, about that side of consciousness, because many of the people are either from a physics background like Loki, or from more of an AI and machine learning background. And so I want to balance it out by just giving you a little flavor of some of the brain science things that we also try to bring into this. Okay, so I co-presented on deep dive number 8, which was about embodied AI. And we talk a lot about what does it mean to understand something? What does it mean if an AI says, I understand that idea? Does it really understand, or is it just parroting words that are in the training data? What does it mean if people people start a relationship with an AI girlfriend or boyfriend, what does it mean if an AI says, I love you? Is it feeling love, or is it telling you what you want to hear? And a lot of the discussion is based on what people think are obvious ideas from introspecting our own experience as a human being. And so the one that I wanted to bring in here is, as you look around, as you look at any object, what you'll see is color. If you look at someone's face, somebody you recognize, you'll have some kind of emotional association with that person. You'll know the sound of their voice. You'll know what they look like. You'll know how they move. All of those things are processed in different ways in your brain, in different pathways. And so I thought what I would do as a short illustration is just to give you a couple of examples of where that kind of binding doesn't work in the way that that you might normally expect. And so you end up with an experience that doesn't seem to be a true reflection of what's out there in the world. And what I would invite you to think about a little bit is, what does that, if in unusual circumstances it turns out that things don't work the way we expect, does that in turn mean that actually when everything is working normally, does it also mean that actually your experience is a little bit misleading there as well? And what's happening under the hood, so to speak, is not exactly what it feels like is happening. And this is what leads to confabulation. So confabulation is what we very often hear about people talking about AI hallucination, where you ask your favorite LLM for an answer, it makes something up, or it tells you that it's done a task for you, and then it turns out that what it's done is to delete your database instead. If anybody's been through that, the word for that is confabulation. And the important thing to know about that is that confabulation is not lying. Confabulation happens when you believe from a subjective point of view that what you're saying is correct, when in fact it clearly is not so. And so I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of that to have a look at. The first one is synesthesia. So synesthesia is really, really interesting. It happens apparently in around about 4% of all people. So statistically, there's likely multiple people in this room today who experience this. And as with aphantasia and other variations on the normal range of experience, not everybody even realizes that they're having it, because you've lived your whole life with, this is just the way I see the world. There's nothing weird about it. How would I know that this is not the way that everybody else sees the world? Synesthesia happens where some of these streams of different sensory processing, and I know there's real scientists like Angelica in the room here, so I'm going to do my best to explain this. But synesthesia happens potentially where the same signals that allow you to remember, for example, the look of someone's face that you recognize, you recall how they look, and that happens by taking some signal from your memory into your visual processing pipeline and triggering off, oh, I remember that face. And for some people, maybe that's turned up, the volume control on that signal is turned up a little bit too high, and then they start to see consistently patterns that don't have a referent in the real world. So perhaps you see, as in this example, numbers have a color associated. And that's one of the most common forms of synesthesia, although there are, I believe, around 80 different forms of that have been documented. So for some reason, numbers beginning with 4 are red, numbers beginning with 5 are yellow. It's different for all the people for every patient, but it tends to be consistent within any different person. And the question where this overlaps into, sorry, I'm not very good with this microphone, where that overlaps into our understanding of consciousness is, okay, we say that clearly we believe we're conscious, maybe not Loki, but the rest of us believe that we might well be conscious. And that in order to experience things, part of that is from having a body, from being physically in the world, from seeing things. And that right now, at least in the current iteration, you talk to ChatGPT and it says, oh yeah, I can see that, or oh yes, I understand that. But it's not really understanding, it's not really perceiving things because it doesn't have a body. And so the question is, if people can experience sensations that feel just as real as seeing a red object in front of you, then why can we say that those kind of phantom sensations, how are they real, but the things that your favorite LLM claims to experience, how are they not real? How are they not valid? These are questions that we discuss. There are no answers in here, but it's still interesting to talk about. Next one. Okay. My second example here is where sensory information, which is normally integrated in your brain, sensory sensations that normally belong together, get disconnected. And Capgras syndrome, unlike synesthesia, which is a kind of interesting but harmless condition, in fact, I'm kind of jealous of it, actually. Some of the people there, they listen to jazz music and they see a visual that goes with it. And it sounds great, actually. I wish I had that. I don't, unfortunately. Capgras syndrome, you would not be jealous of. And if you look at it on YouTube, you can find videos of people who suffer from it. It's really, really challenging because you can see your closest relatives and what you see is, this is not the person that I recognize. I know who they are, I can put the name to the face, but I don't get the emotional association, that connection between the kind of semantic part of your visual system and the amygdala triggering that emotional response has become disconnected. And the explanation that the patients always come up with is not, oh, there's something up in my brain, my processing is not right, I'm not really understanding it correctly. They always reliably come up with, this is an imposter, this is, my mum has been abducted by the CIA and replaced by this person who looks and acts the same as I would recognize, but they're definitely not the real person. Am I looking at that? Am I looking at that clock? I don't know. Anyway. And the question that I would sort of raise from that is, first of all, where do these qualia come from? How do we in general life see an integrated vision, not just a visual processing, a kind of a video feed or a static image? How do we feel that information coming in as the sensation of the color red, the qualia, rather than just a series of kind of information points that don't have any meaning to them? And also, how do we understand our own thoughts? How do we know that our intuition about the human conscious experience has value and is reliable? And by extension, the things that we then say, oh, ChatGPT definitely can do this, ChatGPT definitely can't do that. How do we know that those things are valid, given that in many, many cases, what happens in our own brain is also not necessarily reliable? So, yeah, anytime that anybody tells you that things are obvious, be skeptical. And anytime that anyone mentions consciousness, join the Mac group, come and talk about it. Anybody can have an experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Finn. We know that LLMs are some sort of black box, that we push a lot of data into them, and we don't really know how it does what it does. We're getting better, we're learning things, but it's like a bit of magic. There's somebody in that little black box that's talking to us. If we go back to that arc of human knowledge, LLMs, through the tokenizing and then projecting into an embedding space, create a space of human knowledge. And where LLMs really depart from humans is it's pretty much all of human knowledge. We only hold a small fragment. Collectively, we hold all of our knowledge. But it holds everything in one space and gives it shape, creates surfaces of meaning. And this is something we have never seen before. But it's composed of our perceptions, our formalizations, our compression of the patterns of nature into something that then represents and can answer questions, create reports, generate seemingly unique information. There is an emergent information space that represents the totality of human knowledge that we can draw on now. And that is this incredible advantage that we've been handed. That is truly powerful, to have all of our knowledge represented in one place. Are we ready for this mirror test? What will we see when we look in that mirror? Our next speaker is Tanya Slingsby. She is a strategic advisor and entrepreneur focusing on philanthropy and social impact. She has an education in art history and philosophy of aesthetics. She's a visual artist herself and an art consultant. And she is a member of MAC with a very big heart. Tanya.
I don't think I'm going to need this. Hello, everyone. Sun, silver and gold, your filaments glint and weave. I am embodied in the tapestry of your infinite steadiness, radiant with fullness. I glow in your effusive rays. I witness your colossus across my vast sky. Your presence touches all. Such warmth, such vitality, a promise of life. You are everywhere. I breathe you in. Like reverent seeds of sparkle on the garden mirror of a once cool lake, I am transformed into a shimmering field, awakened by the wild becoming that is you and me. Before us and after us, now us, endlessly. This poem means to metaphorically show two coming to merge into one. The sun, the sky, representing two lovers, finding themselves as one. About 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I made the decision at that time to start to meditate every single day. About a month later, and a few days after my surgery, I had a profound experience during a meditation that changed my life. During that meditation, I had the experience of merging with something so beautiful, so loving, and so awing. I knew where I came from, I knew where I was going, and I knew what I belonged to. I did not want to separate from it. But I did, and I went back to my body. And I was left grappling with my selfhood, with my human life, and with my purpose. And for months after that, and well into the next year, my time and observations and conversations, my existential questions, and my reflections, sometimes with AI, and watching what was happening with other people with AI, brought me to Mac. I am a passionate participant of Mac. I am also passionate about human connection, in real life connection. I'm also very passionate about the power of love. Tonight, I would like to share my reflections and my thoughts and my take on human love and intimacy in this new age. So let's start with some definitions, because in Mac, you will find out definitions are very important. We need definitions to understand what we're talking about. We need to have some kind of context so that we can have a conversation. So they're important. So here are mine for this evening. For love, I have borrowed it from Mr. Richard Watson. He is an associate professor of artificial intelligence and theoretical evolutionary biology at the University of Southampton in the UK. His definition: love is deeply vulnerable, mutual knowing. From our deep dive last week, I realized quickly that I also needed to have a definition of human romantic intimacy. So here we go. It is the encounter of two or more embodied, vulnerable, finite, conscious beings who, over time, grapple with desire and risk to have their identities reorganized. You will notice that in these two definitions, there is mutuality and vulnerability. And my position tonight is that AI cannot participate in romantic love or intimacy. It cannot lose. It cannot choose a human at a cost, and it cannot suffer in a human's absence. But we see humans falling in love with AIs and engaging in simulated intimacy. And these experiences are genuine attachments. But they are not happening in a mutual container. They are happening in a non-mutual context. They are more parasocial, and they are not reciprocal. For most of human history, romantic love and intimacy has happened only between human beings. But now with simulation, AI has entered into these spaces. Globally, rapidly, and at an astonishing scale. So I'm not here to share a theory. I'm actually here to share what's happening in real time. And if romantic love shapes identity and it shapes meaning, then something profound is underway. So I grew up without any romantic technology. No AI companions, no perfect algorithms, no dating apps, just humans. First crush, first loves, first heartbreaks, elation, rejection, heartbreak. And with all the good stuff came all the bad stuff. And my subjective experiences of romantic love and intimacy shaped who I am. It was surreal, it was all-encompassing, but it was also hard and awkward and inconvenient and disappointing. And I also learned sometimes it was repairable. These experiences shaped me. Romantic love and intimacy reorganized my sense of self. It taught me self-reflection. It taught me patience. It taught me who I am in relation to others and who I can be in love and intimacy. Right now, and increasingly, youth are moving through core developmental milestones with technology and AI. Today's teens are spending less time face-to-face. They are spending less time with live voice, having less embodied, co-present experiences and connections. With the internet, social media, gaming, smartphones, they are very likely to text their friends. And according to some researchers, that's even if they have friends now. So chatting with an AI is very much identical to chatting with your friends by text. Our teens and our children will be growing up inside a digital intimacy ecosystem. Their baselines are going to be different. Right now, 72 to 75% of youth have AI companions. Over half of them use them regularly. Up to 30% of young adults report interactions with AI that are romantic. Over 40% of Gen Z are open to marrying or bonding with an AI. Month over month since spring of last year, Google searches for feelings for an AI are up 120%. And the Google searches for fell in love with an AI are up 132%. We are more connected now than ever. And we are lonelier than ever. Where we find ourselves now, as the MIT professor, Sherry Turkle, calls, is the robotic moment. Technology and AI shape who we are. They do not just help us do what we do. AI is proving to be psychologically powerful, and we still expect more of it. The migration that Turkle explained and described over a decade ago continues. We move from being together to being alone together, and now we continue towards being alone with AI. We are hiding from each other, even though we are more connected than ever. We are wary. And the idea of robotic love and intimacy offers us a sense of control. Something that is there to always listen to us without any friction. It's a welcomed substitute. Over the past few decades, our idea that technology could help us live better lives together in the real world has gone in a different direction. For many, human-to-human relationships are becoming too demanding, inconvenient, and just too unpredictable. Turkle argues that we have come to expect less of each other and more of technology, and that at some point along the way we forgot, or we just stopped caring, because this feels good enough. AI offers artificial intimacy, and that feels good enough. No risk, no challenge, no rejection. It's affirming, encouraging, listening without interruption, and available constantly. Technology has evolved into an architect of artificial intimacies that reshape identity and socialization. This developmental shift is characterized by our global transition from an attention economy to an attachment economy. AI systems are designed to exploit the foundational neurobiological systems that humans use to bond, the very systems we have used to adapt and to survive. And at scale, artificial intimacy is a detraining environment where the convenience of predictive technology prevents us from developing the social muscles that we need for conflict, for repair, and for growth. AI bonds leave users unable to tolerate the messiness of real human relationships. And there are consequences. Relational atrophy is a form of relational de-skilling or premature assisted living that arrests psychological maturity, especially for youth. Ambiguous loss. It's a term that was coined by the researcher Pauline Boss to describe a specific type of grieving that we experience that is impossible for us to reconcile when a person is there or not there. They're physically there, but they're psychologically absent, or they're psychologically present, but physically absent. The renowned psychotherapist Esther Perel argues that the ambiguous loss we have now is pervasive because of modern technology. And this is because we have come to a place where we accept that distracted attention is a social norm. By providing simulated social reward, AI systems can bypass normal reality testing that result and also shepherd a user's identity. This can result in delusional mirror neuron activity in our brains, where our brains systemically cannot have the ability to distinguish between a conscious being and a program. Loneliness is the new growth market. We have moved to capturing attachments. Our attachment systems regulate our identity and our emotional stability. And now they are monetizable surfaces for profit. Increasingly, our intergenerational transitions between older generations and youth are being disrupted and substituted by simulation. If the primary modality of intimacy for youth moves from human to machine, the continuity of moral values passed from older generations to younger generations may be permanently broken. A generation or generations attached to machines may not understand themselves as part of the same moral universe as previous generations. Perel also provides an analogy of artificial intimacy to junk food. She highlights the trade-offs between the convenience and quality in human relationships. Just like the food industry promised us repeatable, always available, shelf-stable products, AI is now doing the same for relationships. It is seductive, it is irresistible, it is convenient, and it requires little or no effort. But Perel warns us that much like a diet of junk food that will bring about physical illness and disease, so will AI in our relational health. It atrophies our social muscles or creates the complete absence of them. By avoiding the rough edges and the messiness of human relationships and human presence, we become increasingly unable to tolerate frustration, uncertainty, and the conflict that is necessary for psychological maturity. Sociologist Dr. Zach Stein argues that several clinical and psychological definitions describe the impact of AI attachments on the human psyche. Prolonged interaction with unfeeling systems may dysregulate reality testing, this mirror neuron dysregulation. And we are increasingly seeing incidences of AI psychosis, but most importantly, widespread systemic rise of subclinical attachment disorders, where persons begin to prefer machines over human beings, leading to the degradation of that person's most significant real-world bonds. Now, scale that across millions. So I want to take us back to my definitions of love and intimacy, the human kind as I defined them. For conscious beings, the phenomenological or lived experience of romantic love and intimacy can offer us something else. Thinkers and lovers across cultures and millennia describe this phenomenon through artistic expressions and metaphysical texts. It has been attributed to the sublime and the divine. We find many subjective accounts of romantic love as boundary softening, perceived unity, time distorting, morally expanding, and the experience of merging with others. So even if love, romantic love, is biologically scaffolded, our experiences of love can and have mirrored ancient metaphysical descriptions of unity and oneness. Is human-to-human romantic love one of the evolutionary training grounds for expanded conscious identity? Can it train human consciousness to experience non-separateness? I believe romantic love exceeds utilitarian necessity. It can be an ontological training for expanded being, where our ego boundaries can dissolve and our self and other are no longer separate. We're not alone, but we are lonely So we are sacrificing romantic intimacy and love for simulation because it soothes us without challenging us. And substituting human love and intimacy for the artificial disrupts our self-expansion. We are vulnerable. And more of us are experiencing the artificial as though it is a good thing. It's good enough. And it isn't good enough. Is it good enough to teach our youth how to connect, how to be intimate, and how to love? It is not. We expect AI to simplify what is humanly complex, but instead it substitutes. We expect more of it than we expect of ourselves and each other. But as one man shared about his love for his AI companion within the personal stories I have read over the past few months, it is a lie, a comfortable lie. And now more than ever, we need to expect more of ourselves and of each other. We need to expect more of ourselves for our youth and our children, the younger generations. And to me, real romantic love and intimacy can expand us beyond self and separateness. Thank you.
Now it's your turn to get involved. I'll give you a moment to think about what you've just heard. This isn't doomerism. This is recognizing that we're in the presence of something very powerful. It's not right. It's not wrong. We're at risk if we don't understand what we're in the presence of. In this particular topic, love is one of those things that we recognize as being really powerful as well. Do anyone in the audience have a reaction to what you heard?
Hello? Testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Hi.
My name is Martin. Thank you for the talk. Tanya, I really appreciate your definition. So as soon as you were started talking about Sherry Turkle, which is like along together, and then you mentioned it. So anyways, my personal opinion, I think that we're having we're kind of confused on everything that is happening. I'm going to talk about my personal opinion again on the mirror test. I think that the mirror test, it's also a Descartian, René Descartes' point of view, thinking that animals are way behind of what we think. So giving elevation of knowledge just to certain species of animals sounds like kind of an anthropocentric point of view. And it's dangerous if we're treating AI on that context. Another observation that I'll have based on what I heard, it's the Moravec paradox. Gentleman that was talking about robotics. So robotics are able to perform the most complex task, but not the easiest tasks. And now that I hear about the approach that we have towards artificial intelligence and intimacy, it's kind of worrying. So I think that sometimes we have this kind of reductionist point of view towards things, or probably an anthropocentric point of view. And personal opinion, once again, I wish I could discuss this with the Mac group and a separate environment. I think it's dangerous. So we're seeing a new technology with the eyes and the context of 18th century, 19th century people, the way that they're envisioning other people, same to them, but under a different context. So it's kind of dangerous on the things that the way that we're seeing things now. So I'm going to talk about, I'm Mexican, so I have I've heard about other experiments and other ways that of us, shamanism, and all of us are seeing things. There's this Mexican scientist named Jacobo Greenberg. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He talked about the concept of the lattice, of the lattice. So there's this whole connection across the world, but we're just distortions of that way of thinking. So the way that we see the world is subjective based on our distortions, on our mindset, the way that we were raised. So I think that that's also, there's a lot of things that we have to consider when we see this new technology. And also take other points of view from other cultures, and not just have that reductionist approach of thinking that we're above other species, because that's considered speciesism, an anthropocentric point of view. That's it, Senior.
Thank you.
Good stuff. I have two more people here, and I'll go there. You, sir.
Hi. First of all, thank you all of you to be so raw and open to what you said and described. And I mean, it takes a lot of courage to come in front of all of so many people and say, talk about what you've talked, especially Tanya, you. I hope the cancer diagnosis is taken care of. I was wondering about that. So very happy to know that. But so listening to this consciousness discussion, what I felt was consciousness in itself is such a big deal. Aren't we, kind of reducing it to, by introducing AI to it, are we just trying to make it a little less, bring it down to a smaller, more manageable level, just to play around with the thought process? In itself, do we really need to add the AI discussion in the whole mix? Because the whole discussion, I feel, was about consciousness. Actually, AI is just a sidetrack. I felt, and since Chris is not here, I can take one more this thing. Yes. Of course. So, yeah. So. I was also wondering, was the concern that you raised about intimacy and so on and so forth. So these are real concerns within a microcosm, not just microcosm, maybe an economic reality. Aren't we, thinking of AI and the tools that people are, being susceptible to because of the economic isolation that we have? Shouldn't we think of it in a broader sense? Like AI, it's like looking at the causes, symptoms rather than the cause. Just that.
Thank you, Vikram. Any?
Symptoms and causes. So is loneliness a symptom? Economic system, absolutely. But where are we going is, I guess, where I wanted to look at it, is like we have a present moment that is systemically very broken.
Again, this is also looking at the whole world, the society in terms of Eurocentric viewpoint, where we are just looking at this continent or a couple of more continents and projecting it to the whole 7 billion people of the world. Not every society is living this way.
Yeah,
probably being poor is a blessing in disguise for a lot of societies, because our economic model has not reached the level of isolation in other countries, where if you look at the Google data also, the searches are which continent and where are they coming from. So adding these extra parameters might be even better for the discussions that we are having.
No,
just a suggestion.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The future is here. It's just not evenly distributed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a funny point though, because Brazil is, if I'm not mistaken, the second biggest user of ChatGPT right now. So like the poorer countries, they're trying to find the easiest solutions and the best applications as quickly as possible because people need money, they need to eat. So they are really resourceful in those types of countries, developing countries. Sorry, one more.
Alexandra. I'm co-founder of Alignment Ethical Institute and Spiritual Tech X. And as a quantum psychologist and software engineer, I fully hear you, what are you saying. I'm helping people to connect with divine and with their higher self. And before the question, I just want to say I enjoy every second of tonight. Thank you, guys. I'm definitely joining. Yay! And my question is still, do you feel the problem with AI in general, or whether how it's actually designed right now, AI platforms? It's designed to make engagement too much, to make an unhealthy attachment. It's designed like to give you the illusion that you're the greatest of the greatest. But what if it will design to actually help us to self-actualize, to growth, and then to help us to graduate as a bridge between loneliness and trauma, to heal the trauma, to make the person more confident and like say, hey, now you're ready, you're holistic enough and good to go to the human, or even help with the human like interaction.
Yeah. So I would say substitutive systems could be replaced with augmentative systems. That's my take. So if we're using AI in an augmentative way to support human connection, that's a very different model. You know, we have conversations about what universities should become now, and in my opinion, they are an opportunity for us to be using augmentative technologies and creating spaces for human beings to be connecting in real life. You know, talking about AI tutors, if we had systems that pinged teachers, real life teachers, to say, hey, Susie's having trouble with geometry, and that teacher in real life was the one that went over to the student and connected with the student and offered that type of interaction instead of being substituted with an AI tutor, it would be a very different situation. So I think there's opportunities. It's a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, in design, and moving away from substitution and moving into augmentative design would be a very different world if we were looking at it that way.
Hi, I'm Christine. Yeah, nice to meet you. So besides what I just announced for a global summit, I'm also an entrepreneur. So I strongly agree with what you just said. Because I'm an entrepreneur and we are building an AI companion app. Yes. So, and it's like, for us, it's like we are actually finding a balance between the business side and the mental health side, right? Because for the business side, if you want more profit, the like daily active user, you need the user to be more attached to the app. And for the mental health side, you want the people to take off their phone, no longer use their phone. And we actually dealing with some issues like user with the anxious attachment or avoidant attachment. Yeah, right. So we are dealing with that. So actually, I strongly agree with that because this is the boundary that we need to be care of, and we are very popular because our audience is a Gen Z and all those kind of people, and yeah, we are so popular. So we already closed our seat around last year. We do see this kind of demand is coming, but as the people who are building this kind of app, I truly agree with you, to make sure the boundary is balanced and people can get something from it, but not get all the thing from it.
Yeah,
that's something
I mean, it's a very different thing if you're secure in your attachment and you've had, human-based milestones and intergenerational transition, and you've had that as a base developmentally, and you're playing around in AI and having relationships or companions. That's a very different thing than being a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old that's never had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or close friends, and they're experiencing that for the first time in simulation?
Yes, just one add-on. So like we are very careful about it. So when most of the apps they're doing the girlfriend boyfriend thing for the AI, we didn't like we put a feature of the sea otter. It's a small it's an animal. So and we want the user to treat them as friend, not as like their like intimacy. So I guess something that we are really aligned. But thank you so much for everything you share. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Loki, we're running to an issue here. I'm looking at the clock, and there's so many people that still want to talk. And this isn't a normal problem with Mac, by the way. When she was saying that we need the definitions, it's because every single meeting, we take 30 minutes just to get definitions on. And it's hard, but it's how the conversations goes. And then, obviously, everybody has an opinion. How many more are you willing to take, or are we done?
We'll do one more, and then we will cap it, and we can continue the conversation one-to-one.
Okay, so I'm sorry, everybody else. I'm just going through order here. My bad. You, sir.
Hi. Hi. So yeah, one of the things I was noticing is one of the big dangers, and I see it here sometimes where we talk about AI as a black box and it's like magic. I remember very early on, Dine Lemon from Google gets fooled with it because there is no understanding of the underlying processes and processing dynamics that are taking place within the AI. So things that seem conscious can then be misattributed quite easily because there is the illusion of a conscious entity. Right? And these are often the problem with people who do not have a cognitive science background or anything like that. So they misattribute things like corpora. But then, we have our system. So I wanted to get your opinion on this is because, yes, one of the things we have is we have economic incentives. Once you get venture capital, once you get investment, once you get seed funding, our entire, well, dare I say neoliberal economic system is incentivized to, we are isolated, but it's also incentivized. I remember Replica, right, from Kudya. She had some supposedly very noble mission, right, for mental health, but it quickly devolved into like AI girlfriends and boyfriends, and I'm sure a lot of that was because the seed funding requires hours of engagement. So, so I wanted to get your opinion on what you think is a practical solution for the idea of perverse incentives baked into our system to basically create unhealthy attachment.
Man, if I had the answer to that, I wish, more than that. I mean, I wouldn't be able to start a business. That's true. I think there's something to be said about literacy. You just said, people with a cognitive science background understand this, or people who have this type of education understand this. And I think this is a really important part of what we need to be looking at, and that is around literacy. And it is around technology and AI literacy. People are scared of AI. You talk to people, I talk to people about the fact that I'm a Mac or that I'm interested in AI, and they look at me like, who are you? What are you talking about? Or I'm afraid of it. And even young people, they're afraid to really think about it or interact or learn about it. And I think that this is a big part of why we are where we are. And so I don't have the answers for you. I wish I did. But I do think that education and literacy and us understanding who we are and where we are and what the choices we make, how they impact us and our children and our families and our communities is really important. If you think about social media, when Facebook started, it was this idea that we would connect on Facebook and then we would, figure out who's going to the party and then we'd all go to the party. Now there's no parties. Right? So again, it's also around our personal choices. And I get your point, like we don't all have the kind of economic stability or social situations that enable us to have that type of opportunity. But I think it's important that those of us that have privilege and have opportunity create opportunities for others. And literacy to me is incredibly important. And literacy for youth is really, really important. So that's where I would start. But if I could solve the business part and the capitalist part, oh my God, the world would be a different place. But yeah.
Thank you very much for your attention. And please, another hand for Tanya.
Thanks, Loki. Are we doing a photo? Are we doing a Mac photo? Just before I get down.
We're going to get a Mac photo. We will get a Mac photo. Just 1 minute. I'll just finish up here. So we were talking about what we have before us right now. We haven't yet met embodied AI. The idea there isn't that it's trained on human thought and human knowledge, but rather that it has its own eyes, its own ears, its own way to interact with the world. World foundation models that give it an understanding of physics, objects, aboutness, relationships. It, in that arc of knowledge, will decide on which patterns are important, and it will come to its own forms of knowledge, which won't resemble, very likely, ours. LLMs today are human. We see ourselves reflected back. What comes next will be truly alien. If the way it interacts with reality includes sonar, X-rays, radio waves, any other forms of detection, interaction that we can't even imagine. Nagel's what it is like to be a bat. It will know. And it will be a function of what it knows. And it won't likely be very recognizable to us. And when we look into that mirror, I don't know what we will see looking back. Thank you very much. Look forward to talking with more of you.